Kandi Burruss had always been known for her strength, her resilience, and her ability to hold it all together, even when things around her were falling apart. But nothing could have prepared her for the shocking turn her life was about to take. Just when it seemed like Kandi might finally have a break from the chaos, something much more serious began to unravel. This wasn't about drama, cheating rumors, or public feuds. It was about something far more personal. Something that would change everything for Kandi. And this time, there would be no quick fix. Kandi's fans had noticed her silence, her absence from the public eye for the past few days, and they began to worry. It wasn't like her to be so quiet. People had grown accustomed to her upbeat posts and constant updates on her life, but when she finally spoke out, it was nothing like anyone expected. In a heartbreaking interview, Kandi revealed the devastating news that her mom, Mama Jones, was in the hospital. "My mom's been hospitalized for the past 3 days," Kandi said, her voice filled with grief. She could barely keep her emotions in check as she shared the weight of the situation. Mama Jones wasn't just dealing with a small health issue. No, this was serious. Her condition was rapidly declining, and the doctors didn't have good news. Kandi, always the one to comfort her family, now found herself desperately seeking comfort from the very fans who had supported her through so many battles. But this wasn't just about Kandi being worried for her mom. It was about the stark reality that Mama Jones was facing something life-threatening. As Kandi spoke, she explained that the doctors had shown them some disturbing test results. The weight loss Mama Jones had experienced recently wasn't just due to age or a normal health fluctuation. It was caused by stress, a lot of stress. The doctors had said that the pressure of everything going on in Kandi's life, the family drama, and the constant media spotlight were too much for Mama Jones to handle. And the worst point? The doctors told Kandi that if her mom didn't manage her stress levels, she could face even more severe health complications, including diabetes. Diabetes. The thought alone was enough to leave anyone feeling helpless. You wouldn't believe it, but there it was. Kandi was now facing something much bigger than her own personal struggles.
She was fighting for her mom's life. She wasn't just dealing with a cheating scandal or family drama anymore. She was up against time, fighting to keep the one person who had always been there for her from slipping away. It's hard to imagine the depth of Kandi's pain as she shared that her mom's health was deteriorating in such a dangerous way. "I just need your prayers," she told her fans. It was a simple request, but the weight of those words hit harder than anything she'd said in years. But here's where it gets interesting. While Kandi was trying to process all of this, there was another layer of complexity. Kandi knew the doctors had been clear. Stress was the biggest factor in Mama Jones's declining health. And just like that, Kandi found herself in a nightmare. The same stress that had been tearing her life apart was now threatening the most important person in her world. Kandi had always tried to shield her mother from the drama surrounding her marriage to Todd, but it seemed like the stress was too much for Mama Jones to handle. It was the tension in Kandi's personal life, the public disputes, and the constant pressure that were taking a toll on her health. This is where it gets even more heartbreaking. Kandi knew deep down that her mom wasn't just stressed because of her marriage. Mama Jones had been a rock for Kandi through everything, whether it was dealing with her own personal drama or her family's ever-growing tensions. But now it felt as though Kandi's world was crumbling from all sides. There was no easy fix for this situation. She wasn't just battling a public scandal. She was now fighting to save her mother's life, all while trying to keep her own sanity intact. The craziest part of all this, despite all the pain Kandi was feeling, she still managed to put others first. Her plea for prayers wasn't just about her mom's health. It was a cry for help in the midst of a battle that no one could see coming. The weight of her emotions was crushing, but Kandi didn't have the luxury of breaking down. She had to keep moving forward. The truth was, this was bigger than any drama or controversy she had ever faced. And what made this even harder for Kandi was the fact that she couldn't escape the constant public eye. Everyone was watching, waiting for the next move. And Kandi was left trying to keep it all together, knowing that her mom's life hung in the balance. But what made things even worse was the realization that the pressure Kandi had been under, everything from the betrayal in her marriage to the constant media scrutiny, had somehow spilled over to Mama Jones. The family stress was a silent killer, slowly eating away at the strength of the people Kandi loved the most. As the days dragged on, Kandi was forced to reckon with a truth she hadn't wanted to face. The pressure wasn't just something she had to deal with. It was something her mom was now carrying as well. Kandi couldn't escape the fact that her family was being torn apart by the very issues she'd been trying to manage for so long. Her mom, the one person who had always supported her, was now fighting for her life because of the very stress Kandi had been carrying for years. This was no longer about her own issues with Todd or the reality TV drama. This was a fight for survival, and it was clear that Kandi was now facing her most difficult battle yet. As Kandi sat by her mother's bedside, the weight of the situation became even more unbearable. For the first time, the reality of what was happening hit her like a ton of bricks. She wasn't just worrying about a marriage that was falling apart or the public eye constantly on her. She was facing a much deeper, more personal crisis. Her mother, Mama Jones, the woman who had been her rock, the one who had helped her through so much, was now in a fight for her life. The fear and helplessness in Kandi's eyes were impossible to miss. As she sat there, her thoughts racing, and as if the stress of her mother's deteriorating health wasn't enough, Kandi was dealing with something even more complicated: her ongoing family drama. Yes, Todd Tucker, her husband, was still a part of the equation, and it seemed like his behavior was adding fuel to the fire. You wouldn't believe it, but Todd's behavior had been nothing short of frustrating for Kandi. While she tried to focus on her mom's health, Todd's lack of accountability and his ongoing denial of his mistakes made everything worse. The constant tension between Kandi and Todd had always been there, but now, with her mother's health in jeopardy, it felt like the cracks in their marriage were more pronounced than ever before. Kandi had been so focused on keeping everything together, trying to manage her career, her family, and her own personal life. But now, with Mama Jones in critical condition, it was hard to see the end of the tunnel. As Kandi spoke to the cameras, the pain in her voice was raw and unfiltered.
She wasn't just worried about her mom. She was worried about the damage all this stress was causing to her family. The weight of it all was too much for one person to carry, and it felt like the world was crashing down around her. But there was something about Kandi's strength, her ability to keep going even when it seemed impossible, that kept her moving forward. What makes this story even more heartbreaking is that Kandi wasn't doing this for attention or sympathy. No, she was doing it because she needed help. "I'm doing this because I need your prayers," she had said in the interview. Her words weren't just a plea, they were a cry for support from the people who had always stood by her side. She needed to know that her fans, her family, and her loved ones were all rooting for Mama Jones to pull through. This wasn't just a health scare. It was a wake-up call for Kandi about how much her family had been holding together by sheer willpower and how much of that strength was starting to unravel. You won't believe what happened next. In the midst of everything Kandi was facing, she had to sit down with her family and discuss her mother's condition. The doctors were clear. If Mama Jones didn't start managing her stress, things could get much worse. Kandi was caught in a tug-of-war between caring for her mom and dealing with the emotional strain of her marriage falling apart. What made it worse was that Todd was still denying everything. He hadn't taken responsibility for his actions, and this denial was only making Kandi's situation more complicated. Instead of offering support, Todd was adding to the emotional strain. Kandi had always been the strong one, the one who could handle anything, but now she found herself questioning her own strength. She wasn't just battling family drama and health scares, she was fighting an invisible battle of guilt and frustration. The crazy part? Kandi couldn't help but wonder if the tension between her and Todd had contributed to her mom's health crisis. The constant stress in her life seemed to be affecting everyone, even Mama Jones, who had always been the foundation of their family. In her heart, Kandi knew that this wasn't just about her marriage. No, it was about something much bigger. It was about her family's well-being and her mom's life. And as the days dragged on, Kandi began to realize something she hadn't fully acknowledged before. She couldn't fix everything. She couldn't carry the weight of her family's problems on her own anymore. "I can't do this alone," Kandi admitted in her interview, her voice breaking as she spoke. The pain of admitting that she needed help was palpable, but it was also a turning point for her. Kandi couldn't be the superhero anymore. She had to accept that she was human, that she had limits, and that it was okay to lean on others when she needed to. But here's where it gets even more intense. As Kandi sat there contemplating how to move forward, she found herself questioning everything: her marriage, her family, and even her own role in the chaos. The emotional toll of the past few weeks had been relentless, and what made things worse was that Todd was still playing the victim. Instead of supporting Kandi through this nightmare, he was continuing